Yeah, a little better since last night, but still not 100%. Yeah, I wish I could nap, but I have two books coming via Amazon today, so I can't really take a nap. Well, anyway, yeah, and Chris Rock is looking like he's becoming the better man here because of the fact that he didn't press charges. If I was, if Will did that to me or my boyfriend or any man, they would have pressed charges, and Will would have been in a heck of a lot of trouble. I mean, you cannot just because you're a big Hollywood star think you can get away with doing that. Even though I know he was defending his wife, but you know he had that you two have freaking a beef with each other for a while. You know how he jokes around, and yet you couldn't take it. I'm sorry, but I think there's something more brewing in the Smith household, and Chris just put oil on the fire. You know what I'm saying? It just boiled over, in my opinion. Um, what else? I mean, no one knew that Jada had this condition, and if she was such, like I said before in the other video, if she was such, you know, sensitive about it and stuff, she should have not went. You know what I'm saying? Even though she's no hair, she's still the beautifulest woman around, you know, for her age. But I'm sorry. I feel sorry for Will's PR people because the fact that now they're scrambling to try to save his image and everything. But it's been brewing like this for a while in the household of the Smiths. I mean, with the red talk table and revealing all kinds of shit. I mean, Chris Rock could have laid into him after that smack and then pressed charges. But he's smelling like a rose right now because he took it like a man, you know, and was actually shocked that Will actually did this to him. You know, he's probably just befuddled by it, you know, because Will never acted out like this before. I'm thinking that there's mental problems in this family, you know, mental problems with Will, you know, and he's just not, you know, taking care of himself mentally, you know, because if you can tell, his acting hasn't been up to par, you know. I mean, I love Will as an actor and stuff, but personally, there's been problems. You shouldn't have to go on a TV show and reveal your personal problems to the world. Personal problems are personal. No one in the world needs to know about your personal problems other than you and the people that are close to you. That's a bad PR stunt, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's a bad PR moment. No one talked to Will and say, this red talk table is not going to be good for your image, and I know you need to talk it out, but get like an Oprah to talk it out, you know? I mean, or Barbara Walters, you know? Get someone like that to, you know, to talk out your problems. Don't be revealing or write a book. There's ways of doing shit without making you look like a total nutcase. You know? I mean, seriously. mean, I don't know what to say about Will. I mean, something going on in the Smith's household. I mean, his son went gay. I mean, I looked at the picture of his door, what his door was wearing that night. I was like, one's a boy, one's a guy, when they should be switching. I mean, and they let the kids run around. I mean, I remember hearing the news that there was no discipline. There was nothing dealing with molding these kids. I mean, in my opinion, these kids walked all over Will and Jada. They're spoiled little brats. I bet you 100%. If you say no to their kids, they will freaking act out just like Will. I mean, they're so used to getting their way. If you didn't want it talked about and stuff, then you don't bring it up. You know what I'm saying? You could have really laid into you, Will. Laid into you with all the stuff that you and your wife said in this TV show. I mean, and I give props to Bradley Cooper and Denzel and all trying to calm his ass down and stuff like that, but it's only making them look bad in a sense because they're looking like they're siding with a guy who hit Chris. I mean, who just was doing a comedy skit about someone. And that's their job, is to make fun of people, to state the obvious and do it in a funny way. And Chris's comedy is that type of comedy where he picks out what he thinks is funny in people, and he's a roaster. He's a comedy roaster, and he's king of it. Will and Jada knew that from his past. I mean, if they really didn't want it talked about, why didn't they send a memo to Chris's people and stuff saying, I know you're going to be on the show and I know you roast people, but do not roast us. You know what I'm saying? Because Jada is going through a lot right now. Because all she is her looks, and it's bothering her that she don't have her hair anymore. And I mean, women need to stop having such sensitivity about their looks. You know what I'm saying? It all started because of Jada's looks. Jada being sensitive about how she looks. Jada? Seriously, girl. You're in Hollywood where plastic surgeons and all kinds of crap is in Hollywood, where you have the money to replant your hair. I mean, go for surgery where you can replant the roots in your hair. You know what I'm saying? Celebrities can do whatever they fucking want to do to make themselves look good. I mean, seriously. I'm sorry, but alopecia is a thing that happens to men and women when they get older. And Jada, hair with hair, like I said before, you're still beautiful. Stop. It shouldn't be what you look like on the outside. It should be what on the inside. And how you act towards people. And how you portray yourself. And stuff like that. Well, and you ain't portraying yourselves with dignity and grace. I mean, you're looking like a tragic mess. Just cancel the red talk table or whatever. Keep your mouth shut. And work on your problems in private. Get a psychiatrist. Do what you need to do. Get the help you need. You know, I mean, and The public does not need to know every single detail of your freaking relationship. I mean, seriously. I mean, and I agree with John Leguizamo because he said here, John Leguizamo says Oscars was tainted with because of Will Smith. It has, because of the fact that it wasn't on the nominees at that point. It was on the fact that Will turned it into BT, Ebony, or whatever, or Soul Train, where you can, you know what I'm saying? The Oscars is supposed to be, classy, respectable. I mean, he didn't turn it respectable when he got up and did that. You take it, he took it to a whole nother level that he should have never took it to, even though he was defending his wife, who he knew was sensitive about what's going on with her. If you're that sensitive, stay home. Get the help psychologically. And when you're ready to go out and talk and laugh about it and shit, that's when you go to award shows and stuff. Where, you know what I'm saying? And why is she so, so uptight about this? I mean, G.I. Jane was about a strong woman going up against men in an army. I mean, it was a strong figure in a movie. It was a brilliant movie. That the Smiths took it the wrong way, and they shouldn't have taken it the wrong way. I mean, I watched G.I. Jane how many times, and I wanted to shave my hair because of that movie, because it showed that she could do the same as men and not be treated like a man. You know what I'm saying? And she did it and got the respect of the men because she was the only woman there at the time. I mean, he wasn't really insulting her if you think about it. He was applauding her for being strong, like G.I. Jane. He wasn't making fun of her. If you think about it, if you look at the movie and what the movie was about, I mean, seriously. I mean, shit.
Oscars party. Are you excited? Is this a party you love every year?
I'm excited. Been coming to this
I know,
party
I
for
get
many years.
it.
Always meet a lot of people that I'm a fan of and who are my heroes. So look forward to that.
How did you feel about the show tonight?
I thought it was one of the best shows. It was the most exciting, fun, best representation, funny as hell. And then there's an unfortunate incident, but I thought I killed.
The unfortunate incident. Let's discuss it. What was your reaction?
Well, it's like at first you thought, oh my god, it's a skit. Oh my god, wait a minute, there's no punchline. Wait, whoa, it's a punch, not a punchline. And you're like, oh, that's really unfortunate.
And how did you feel about Will's speech?
You know, I would like more of a straight apology.
Exactly.
To Chris,
Exactly.
That would have been great. Because I mean, I thought Will's performance was amazing, and I'm sorry that he tarnished it with his behavior. I mean, nobody likes to be made fun of, but you gotta have a sense of humor about yourself.
Exactly.
That seriously. I mean, we're just acting, let's just relax.
Chill.
What do you think the Academy does from here?
I don't know. That's gonna be interesting. I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, he said in his speech, "I hope I'm allowed to come back." I don't know.
I don't think he should. Not until he straightens out his problems in the household.
On it because you know what it's like to be in the headlines, to do all that.
We all get hot-headed. We all get excited. We all take ourselves a little too seriously. but there's a lesson to be learned for all of us. Everything's a learning opportunity.
I love John Leguizamo.
It's been an exciting year for you. What's been a highlight?
The Bruno song. I mean, who would have thought that it would become a worldwide phenomenon? It's insane. Bigger than Frozen, bigger than almost anything. It's like platinum, 5 weeks #1 on Billboard, #1 on Spotify. People like acting it out. It's gonna be a Halloween thing.
The performance tonight, Megan Thee Stallion.
That was everything.
Tell me what you thought.
She did my rap. She did. I mean, way better than I could ever do it. I mean, they should have hired her, not me.
Did you know that was gonna happen?
No, I was totally surprised. No, because when I did my rehearsal, they did their rehearsal at a different time, so I didn't see the performance. Yeah.
What's your reaction in the room?
It was. I thought it stole the show. I thought it was the best performance of the night.
Lin-Manuel, he had the COVID scare. Right?
Yeah. Because he's talking to an EGOT. It was so close, the youngest EGOT in the world, but
Have you talked to him?
We texted. Yeah, he was always said it's unfortunate that he's not, but he's proud of everybody. We're there because of him. He's our cultural hero. He's a cultural genius for us.
Isn't that pretty dress?
For the world as well.
I hope you. Would you guys work together again?
I hope so.
I like that.
I keep my phone clear. Yeah.
Lin-Manuel's calling. Well, what do you think you had a bigger reaction to, Megan Thee Stallion, or tell me your just genuine reaction in the moment to the Will Smith, Chris Rock of it all in the room?
Nobody knew what was going on. The thing, honestly, nobody knew what was happening. You were just like, oh, it's a skit. Oh, it's gonna be real funny. Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Is there a bunch? No. So you didn't know until after the fact when he started, saying when he told him don't talk about my wife. Then you're like, oh, okay, this is for real. This is beef.
Is that just silent?
Yeah. And then nobody else. Anthony Hopkins came up afterwards, and he didn't know how to respond to it. So nobody else commented on it and let it go. So, okay.
We're all kind of watching the show like, okay, it's just so
Somebody's got to comment on it, but nobody did. But we were commenting on it behind the scenes. We were all talking about it.
Really, what were people saying?
It's like, what happened? Why? Why that? Why, it's just a joke. Just take it as a joke. Just chill.
And I know, exactly. Exactly. Here, when he was hearing other people saying about it. I mean, he should get his award taken away because there's a code of conduct or whatever during an award show, and he took it too far. I mean, there's a time and place. I was shocked that Will took it that far.
6:12 as we come back this morning. It's the day after the Oscars, and there's a lot to talk about this morning. So here to help us break it all down, live from Los Angeles, is ABC 10's Mark Castell. And so, Mark, we have quite a bit of highlights to discuss.
Quite a bit of highlights, high points and low points last night for the 94th Annual Academy Awards. First of all, tribute to these three ladies. They did a phenomenal job. There was this great moment where Regina Hall said that the COVID test, there was a problem, and she essentially called up any attractive man that she wanted up on stage to go back for some private COVID testing. Amy Schumer took the stage after the Chris Rock, Will Smith incident and said, hey, the vibes changed here. Did I miss anything? Well, yeah, if by chance you weren't watching at that moment, you did miss something because it went down like this.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith.
Yes, that really did happen. Chris
And
Rock
that
was
could
up
get
on
him
stage
blacklisted
cracking
from
wise,
Hollywood,
making a joke
too.
about Jada Pinkett Smith, referring to G.I. Jane. It's a Demi Moore movie from the 1990s that I doubt most people in the auditorium even got, but it was a reference to her short hair. To put this into context, she has alopecia. It's why she's keeping her hair short this time. Will Smith stormed the stage, said something that included an expletive, slapped Chris, went back to his seat, and then repeated it again. My phone, and I think everything or anywhere connected to this event started blowing up with people saying, was that real? Yes, it was real. It wasn't a staged bit. Interestingly enough, I might even be able to see it because some people have started to push photos to my phone. What you didn't see during the commercial break, Tyler Perry and Denzel got up and started consoling Will Smith, pulled him aside for a little chat. Bradley Cooper did the same thing, and then he returned back to his seat, and the ceremony carried on. He gave an emotional speech later. He didn't exactly apologize to Chris Rock. We're wondering if that's going to happen in the future. In the meantime, let's talk about positivity. Our hometown woman did great. Jessica Chastain,
I mean, Will took it too far. I'm sorry. He could have talked to him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know what's going on in the Will Smith household. I mean, my reaction, I didn't see it
So
per
what I
se, but
understand is Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars? Was it a skit?
even
Let's see
black
this.
people were like, Will doing that shit?
You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win.
That's funny.
Praying that Will Smith wins, but please, Lord. Jada,
And he's laughing at it.
G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
And she's taking it to offense while he's laughing his ass off.
Nice one, okay. I'm out here. Oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of it. Take my name out your fucking mouth. Wow, dude. Yeah. It was a G.I. Jane joke. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. I'm going to, okay? Okay.
He could have roasted him right there with all the shit that the Smiths put out in the public about themselves.
So we're here to give a documentary out, to give an Oscar out for best documentary. Now, the beauty of documentaries, because they make you, when you watch one, you feel smart. Like you're watching.
Wow!
And this comes from a black guy.
Hey! Come here!
So here we go. The documentary, the nominees are, let's tell our nominees. Ascension, Jessica Kingdon, Kira Simon Kennedy.
I mean, oh my God.
Sit down!
What?
Sit down!
Why?
Sit down!
What?
Watch this!
Y'all gotta see it, it's really good. You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins, but please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? It's Jones. That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will the shit out of it. Take my name out your fucking mouth. Wow, dude. Yeah. It was a G.I. Jane joke. Keep my friend's name out your fucking mouth. I'm going to, okay? Okay.
That's what happens when you put too much of your business out there.
Greatest night in history.
Comedians and roaster comedians are gonna go after you.
So we're here.
They're gonna go in. So if you think about it, Will and Jada brought it on upon themselves.
Wow.
I am like,
Whoa. Oh my God, so much is going through my mind now. He must have been so shocked.
I'm trying to figure out what was going on in his mind right now. Like, what do you do after that? You're freaking-
Exactly.
He's hosting the Oscars?
Yeah. He just tried to continue on. Like, what we're doing now is what we're going to do. We're offering.
And the Oscars
Yeah.
happen tonight.
Well, y'all come to me for a reaction. Y'all sure as hell.
Oh, you've been
got a
recording this? I
reaction.
didn't even know
The
you
whole
were
time.
recording this.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. You know how many jokes they gonna make about this? Especially on Chris Rock now? For getting smacked like that?
It sounded like he punched him, but he smacked him.
You could
Wow,
hear
it
the
looked like,
smack.
looked like he legitimately laughed at first. I didn't
Yeah,
think it was
but he
that
was
bad of a
not
joke, you know, took
playing.
a low haircut. I get the joke.
I
but
wonder if
just-
there's some beef behind the scenes that we
Yeah,
don't
like,
know about.
I just, it didn't, I don't know, I'm not them, so I don't know them, but it's I just felt
There's
like,
gotta
wow,
be more. There's
that
gotta be
was a
more.
little much
That was
for
too
that
much
joke.
for it. Yeah, that was too much for it to be a little skit type of thing.
That's a little much to walk up on stage, slap somebody for that joke. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's what makes it
Holy shit.
I feel like there's gotta be more behind that than we know
Well, you
about.
know what? We'll be going through stuff. A lot of people been making jokes about him and Jada. So you know what? That might be it.
I mean, they shouldn't be making fun of what Jada's been going through, but still, they shouldn't put it out there for people to make fun of.
Did you
And
guys
it's
know
their own fault that they did that.
that originally Will Smith was approached by Quentin Tarantino to play Django in Django Unchained? And he turned down the role. He recently talked about, well, not recently, but a couple of years ago, he talked about it in an interview at one of those actors' roundtables.
It had to be.
I mean, seriously.
Oh, I'm so shocked if you don't. But in case you guys don't know, Chris Rock presented an award for Best Documentary. I believe that was the category. And then he was making some jokes. It's Chris Rock. You're expecting him to make
Exactly.
some jokes about
Exactly.
that.
He's a
Clearly,
roasted
like damn couples
comedian.
jokes, as Chris Rock likes to make couples jokes. Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, sitting front row at the Oscars. He made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, saying, "I can't wait to see you in G.I. Jane 2. Apparently, Big Willie got provoked, smacked the crap out of Chris Rock, and changed Oscars forever. Set a precedent. Apparently, you can go up to people, smack the presenter, and nothing's going to happen to you.
I know exactly.
And the clout you have for that night, and the fact that you're going to win an award that evening. It was wild. I'm going to ask you guys right front, what did you think about what happened? What was your reaction to it? How do you feel overall? Who was right? Who was wrong? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I'm going to talk you guys through my reaction of experiencing this, and then I'm also going to give some of my thoughts and feelings on it as well. The Oscars are going. They're going fine. It's actually a pretty enjoyable Oscars for the most part. Amy Schumer's doing a great job. When Chris Rock is out there presenting the award, he's doing his speech, and then here's what happened. He makes the G.I. Jane joke, and I could show you some footage, but I can't play it because I know this video will get blocked. I know ABC. He makes the joke, and then at first, Will Smith, he's laughing.
Yeah.
He's laughing. So I was like, everything just seems fine. He's
Seems
laughing
cool.
about it.
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett Smith evidently not happy at all. It is so apparent she is not happy. Cuts back to Chris Rock.
She
He's doing
always had
something.
an
At
attitude.
first going,
I'm
"Oh,"
sorry,
and
she
then
always
Chris
had an
Rock said something to
attitude.
the effect of, like, it was a light one or whatever. Like, it wasn't that bad of a joke. And in my mind,
I mean, you can tell she has this "don't talk about me, bitch." She's a hood rat type of attitude while being bougie in her freaking $1 million mansion.
Approaching him. We only see the back of Will Smith's head, so we don't know.
She's like, "Oh, here we
In
go."
that moment, so Will Smith.
What kind of
walks up
attitude
and
is that?
Chris Rock lean in, almost as if he's like, "Come on in and hit me." Like his face is lean in with laughter. I thought Will Smith was just gonna get on the mic or some shit. I thought that's all he was gonna do, was just freaking like start making a joke, make a joke about Chris Rock or whatever. All of a sudden,
Exactly.
bang. Oh, wow. Like perfect form. Perfect form. The Ali days of Will Smith come out. It was a great hit. All things considered, you know, it's a great hit. Assault, yes. A great hit.
Damn.
Then he goes back down. Now, if you live in Australia, you got the uncensored version. And apparently, you can find the audio, the actually uncensored version on sites like YouTube and Twitter. But in the States, in our mind, when he smacked him, it looked like a bit. Because, you know, like Chris Rock didn't fall down or whatever. All of us thought it was like some weird joke. And Chris Rock says, Will Smith just smacked the out of me. That's how it sounded to us. And then all the audio went out. And then you're cutting back to Will Smith, who's looking pissed off. And you can see Chris Rock feeling pretty awkward about the whole ordeal. And then it starts to register with us like, I think this is actually very real. I think Will Smith just got really mad about a joke that just seemed like fine a second ago. And then
there's a problem in these two minds.
Shit at Chris Rock. Here's what I think really happened. At least this is how what in the moment what I thought happened. Chris Rock made it fun. Will Smith laughed at the funny.
Looked at his wife.
Wife didn't find it funny. Will Smith realized, I'm going to be in the doghouse unless I do.
Exactly.
I got to stand up for her because I know what it's like when you're in a relationship and you think something's funny.
And the other one doesn't.
Expensive for it, and you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have laughed at that. I need to correct this now. So he did the one thing he could do: walk up on stage, smack shit at Chris Rock.
I know he was in a particular, you know, position where he's laughing, he's thinking it's funny, but he looks like his wife who's taking it too personally.
There was no question about it. So it just made it go.
He takes everything too personally.
Bad night to do, like you never just want to do that, but at any night to do it, it's on the night you're finally gonna win your Oscar. This happens. Like, what is your speech gonna be? What is your speech gonna be? So on the uncensored version, when I watched it on the car ride home, after Chris Rock says, "Will just smack the shit out of me," Will Smith says, "Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." Chris Rock is like, "Dude, it was a G.I. Jane joke." At the time, I was like, singing and saying, "Dude, it's a G.I. Jane joke. Chill out. You're a couple who's in the public spotlight like all the time. Your relationship seems to be like on blast. You even
Exactly.
You really exposed a lot of things about your relationship right away. When you're that level of celebrity and you're allowing yourself to be that exposed, usually that means like entertainers, comedians, people are going to make jokes at you.
What did I just say?
You want to expose that side. That's just how I was registering at the time. There was
Exactly.
other information that I was yet to learn, but at the time, that's how I was thinking about it. Will Smith did further in real anger, like rage. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. I say it too hard. YouTube gets a little something about the whole thing. And then Chris Rock made a little crack up. This was the best night in television history, or so he made a joke about something like that. And it is.
And he took it like a man.
Exciting. More exciting than it's ever been. That was crazy.
Made
So come to find out.
Will look like an ass.
Apparently, Jada has actually been very public about this, but I don't follow the lives of them. The question is, did Chris Rock know about this? So she has a disease called alopecia. It's a medical term for baldness. So she suffers from baldness. So it's not her fault that she's bald. It's a condition that she has. And that's really unfortunate. And that just changes the whole context of the joke right there. There's several ways because comedians seem to always be defending themselves against like the free will to make a joke about anything and anybody. I can't think of a lot of comedians feel that way. So I don't know if Chris Rock,
if you didn't want
that or not, or
your
he didn't
business to be made fun of and be roasted and stuff, then don't put it out there.
Thing to say in front of like millions of people. It's not really about what Chris Rock believes, if that's offensive or not. It's more about how will the person on the receiving end of that comment, how will they feel?
And if
about
she's
that? And if
still kind of sensitive about it, then she shouldn't have gone out
then you shouldn't make that
and
joke,
made it
especially
public
if you
that she has
already
this.
know that she has this
Just
disease
say, I just got a
that
haircut.
you would not
That is
want to
it.
make fun about. And one of the biggest nights
You know
in
what
their
I'm saying?
lives, because their husband
Say, I wanted to try something new.
put on you like that. See, I can get that. The question is, should Will Smith have walked up there, smacked the shit out of Chris Rock? Probably not. That was probably not the way to handle it. I know that
Exactly.
there's
It's not
most
the way to
likely
handle
a
it.
lot of women across the world, a lot of people, maybe not just women, but a lot of men too, who are like, you know, if I was made fun of in public, I would expect my man to go up there and just beat the shit out of that guy. And to me, I'm like, well, it really depends on the situation.
Exactly.
The Oscars, you know, I'm
You don't do that at the
people look like
Oscars.
I'm pretty upset by that joke.
You
I'm
can
not
do it
gonna
at
go
the
there and
BT
smack
Soul
the guy.
Train Awards
Maybe I
and
could get arrested
and
for
shit like
for
that.
assault or
But you
something
don't
like that.
do it at the
This
Oscars,
is not
the
a good
Academy
look, and it's starting to
Awards,
make me feel like I know
things
what
that are
he's
known
saying
to
now. It's
be
starting to make me
classy.
feel, does Will Smith just like do this? When he gets mad at people, does he just smack them? Like
Exactly. Does he have anger
management
management
issues?
issues?
Attitude like if there's a joke that's made that you just can't roll with because it comes in the name of protection and love. Because he gave this speech, and in between, before his Oscar win, his publicist was talking to him a lot. There's like photos of like Denzel talking to him and Tyler Perry, I believe. Like there's people congregating with him to talk him through it. And it seemed like there was a lot of people in support of him in that moment, you know, like he got sensitive, he was provoked, something happened. And you're in a room full of a bunch of artists who are all very sensitive individuals who also practice the art of empathy. They're not going to be like social media about it. You know, they're all, there's going to be a lot of artists and they probably know, they definitely know Will Smith better than either one of us. It makes sense. I was going to have a lot of support surrounding him in a moment like that. And it seemed like a lot were on his side. At least that's the way it appeared. That was the impression given off. So Will Smith gives his speech, you know, we're all like, what's he going to say? You know, what's Will Smith going to talk about? Is he measure Chris Rock? He's going to talk shit about it. He immediately starts to talk about people he had to protect. People involved with the movie, characters, real life people. Talking about how love makes you do crazy things. And the way he gave his speech made our friend Brandon Hanna in the room make the best comment ever. That man has a damn good publicist. He really does, because holy balls, it was a great speech. There's still like when you revisit the situation that happened, I'm like, does the speech eliminate, you know, all of everything that happened? No, it definitely
No, it doesn't.
In the moment in time, you're like, damn, it was a powerful speech. It seems really sincere. It seems very emotional. But I at least get where he's coming from at this moment in time. And it seemed like, at least the way the narrative suddenly changed on that, it was all coming from a place of not necessarily ego, but a place of protecting a loved one. And especially when you find out that Jada had alopecia, you're like, okay, he was really going out there protecting her. I still think there are other ways it could have been handled.
Exactly.
But he had a human moment. He's human. I've met plenty of people who started a fight they shouldn't have happened. They felt like they regretted that they maybe shouldn't have done it. Will Smith apologized to the Academy. He apologized.
But then you should apologize also to
Chris.
Chris for.
He didn't apologize to Chris Rock, but he apologized to other people. And I'm wondering too, like, is there more history with him and Chris Rock? Because I know that like a few years ago, when it came to the whole boycotting the Oscar situation. What the fuck?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to my recap for the Academy Awards. And I'm honestly a little bit in shock. Every time I don't think the Oscars can get any nuttier, they prove me wrong, because we were cruising towards a very, let's be honest, dissatisfying show to begin with. And then about 2 hours in, something happened. So we're going to talk about the whole show, the things that I liked, the things that I didn't like. But we've got to talk about Will Smith. I cannot do this pretense where I'm going to talk about something and be like, oh, there's a big moment. Let's get to that later. No, let's get to that now, because nothing like this has ever happened at the Academy Awards before. As far
Exactly.
as I know, and I haven't watched
Because we
the
haven't
ceremony
really
in years past,
allowed
but I don't remember any
the
highlights
minorities
where,
to
like,
have
Jack
this
Lemmon
much
stood up
freedom.
and slapped Johnny Carson in the face
I
in
know
the middle of
exactly.
the Academy Awards. In case you missed it, and you're somehow seeing this for the first time in this video, the talk of the Academy Awards isn't really who won or who lost or even the show itself. It's a moment that happened when Chris Rock came on stage to present Best Documentary. He was doing his Chris Rock thing, making some jokes. I remember thinking like, oh, this actually feels like maybe he should have hosted, because he was
Exactly.
there's some energy in the room. And then he made a joke
Because it was
about
dumb.
Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith's wife. And listen, it was a hacky joke. She came to the show bald. She's been very open about having alopecia. It's a very sensitive subject, and I understand that.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
And he was also making fun of the
First of all, that movie's like
freaking
25
Hollywood
years
film
old.
industry
Chris Rock
because
is a
of
great
them
comedian.
constantly doing
I
remakes.
think he can do better than that. But yes, all
If you
subjects
think
are
about
a
it,
very
too.
sensitive subject. And I think that honestly, Will Smith was right to be upset by that joke. You have somebody who seems to be going out of their way to broach a very sensitive subject for your wife. And if you want to perhaps go and have words with Chris Rock after the show, maybe even if you want to go up on stage and say, hey man, that wasn't
wasn't
Or
cool.
if you want to
Exactly.
in the audience and say the bleep stuff that Will Smith said, which we'll get to in a second, maybe you can even do that. I think the one thing you can't do is walk on
stage and slap
him in the
somebody.
face, because then you lose the high ground. You're Anakin Skywalker at that point. And I think that's
Exactly.
He had the high ground and then he lost the high ground.
Yeah, exactly.
And listen, I understand people get very protective over the people they love. I am very protective over the people that I love. But the other part about this that just blows my mind is that, let's say that I was at an awards dinner for my job at my office, the Dundies, to take an example, something like The Office. And somebody said something that I didn't agree with. And I walked up and I slapped them in the face. There's two things that I can pretty much guarantee wouldn't happen. Number one, I don't think I would be allowed to just sit back down and enjoy the rest of the
Exactly.
awards. And number two, if I were to win an award later on, I can't imagine that my coworkers would sit there smiling
And clapping for you.
Accepted that award. I watched the last hour plus of the show. I was like Mugatu. I felt like I was taking crazy pills because it seems like everybody just decided that it didn't happen. I mean, people would mention it on stage and like it was an anecdote that happened 10 years ago or something. Like, Will Smith literally just slapped Chris Rock in the face hard. Will Smith actually just bitch slapped Chris Rock.
Oh. My.
Oh.
Yeah, it's silent because it was bleeped.
Uh,
That was not staged at all. There's no way.
No. It wasn't leaked, by the way, internationally. And if you didn't hear what was yelled from the audience, this is a clip from Australian TV.
It was a G.I. Jane joke. I'm going to.
But I honestly was shocked that there was seemingly no repercussion for this. Like,
Exactly.
nobody did anything. It didn't seem like anybody said anything, and the show just kind of kept going on. And I've seen some praise for Will Smith's speech. It was a very emotionally.
I
open
really don't
speech,
believe
but
anything
his
comes out of his mouth
speech is
because he's an actor.
basically
He can
saying,
force his
"Love will
fake
make you do
tears.
crazy things."
Okay?
Love will make you do crazy things.
That's not an excuse.
For
Love will make you do crazy things.
exactly.
Like, you're right, but that doesn't make them right. I mean, I was
For you
rooting
to go
Will
up and
Smith when
smack
he was Academy
somebody.
Award, but I gotta say, yes, you gotta defend your loved ones, but I don't think this is the way to do it. And it's kind of
Exactly.
shocking to me that in the moment there really didn't seem to be much pushback at all from the Academy or really anybody else in the audience. And there are even a lot of people that are defending what Will Smith did. I kind of find it indefensible, to be honest. I think there's a line that you just don't cross.
And
anyway.
he
But the
crossed
fact
that line.
You are somebody who people look up to. Particularly, I mean, he talks about being a role model in his speech about family and about
And
being
if
about
he's
love.
trying to be a
He's
role
like,
model,
"Oh,
that's
yeah,
something you
all
don't
this
teach
time
kids to
stuff."
do, is to go up to somebody.
In my life,
I mean, and smack somebody. That's immature.
to love people.
Dude, you literally slapped Chris Rock in the face like 45 minutes ago. Yes, people are imperfect, but I didn't really find like his whole thing like, well, you know, I love my wife, you do crazy things. Anyway, thanks and have a good night. No one else would get that treatment.
No
No
one.
one
No.
else would get that treatment.
No.
That is the star treatment. If you ever want to see the star treatment in action,
That was
then
it.
Next time you're at a work awards, go up and slap the host in the face and see if you get the Will Smith treatment. So obviously that's what people are talking about the most. Obviously, because nothing like that has ever happened in the history of the Academy Awards. But there's something else that I want to point out that not a lot of people have been pointing out, which is that when they cut to Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, after Chris Rock made the G.I. Jane 2 joke, Will Smith laughed at the joke. This is no
And
controversy.
Jada
That is
being her hood rat
100%
self.
a laugh. And then sometime after they cut away, and the time he went up and slapped Chris Rock in the face, something happened. I don't want to make this too much like an episode of West Wing because that was a whole thing. The president laughed at the joke.
He did laugh at the joke. Yeah, he laughed at the joke, CJ.
Will Smith definitely laughed at the joke. Maybe it was an instinctual laugh. Maybe he was just trying to save face and didn't realize how upset Jada was. I mean, she obviously was not happy with it. But Will Smith did laugh at the joke. This is
Exactly.
obviously a situation that's going to play out over time. I know that a lot of people have a lot of different opinions on it, and that's fine. Everybody sees it from their own perspective. But this really does feel like what the hell is happening? I mean, I feel like if we go back like the last decade, we had Adele Dazeem with John Travolta, and then they give Best Picture out to the wrong movie. And then last year they decided to flip-flop the categories and they end on no acceptance speech whatsoever. And then this year you got Will Smith, like the most likable guy in show business, walking up out of the audience and slapping Chris Rock in the face on live television.
You make people
What the hell
enemies
is
by
going
doing that.
on? I honestly think it's some kind of a sign, like a poltergeist, or like the whole Scottish play thing, where the producers keep trying to mess around with the Oscar show and try to fix it. And I think there's some kind of like ghostly presence that's trying to say, "Stop it!" And it's
Exactly.
the show's worse and worse, hoping that the producers will try to, maybe take it back to basics. And instead, they just keep trying new, worse ideas, and the Oscar show just keeps fighting back harder and harder. If we're not careful, we're going to bring about the apocalypse on the Academy Awards. Because if Will Smith hadn't, again, slapped Chris Rock in the face on national television, then this video would mostly be about the terrible decisions that were made in the production of the show, both before, during, and after. This year, the big idea was to present some categories before the show and then cut the parts where their names were announced and they walked up to the stage and put them later on in the show. And this was done nominally to save time. This year's Academy Awards ceremony was the longest Academy Awards ceremony since 2018, so good job. Mission accomplished. Now, they did save at least a minute to a minute and a half, I would estimate, on each of the 8 categories that they didn't include the full presentations of in the Oscar ceremony itself, from people walking out, doing their spiel, the clip packages, etc. So we're talking about 8 to 20 minutes of extra time. How did they fill that time? Oh, in so many delightful ways. First of all, you had 3 hosts, which means that the show opened with a 3-person monologue, followed by a second monologue with just Amy Schumer. I've got to say most of the jokes across the board tonight were pretty low-hanging fruit. There were a couple that got a laugh out of me. I did like the J.K. Simmons, Timothy Chalamet joke.
We've been dealing with COVID for 2 years. It's been really hard on people.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, God.
But between all the different hosts and the bits and the monologue and a performance from Beyonce from the big highlighter court at Office Depot Stadium, it was 25 minutes before the first award of the night was handed out. And the first real highlight of the show was from Josh Brolin. I love that he just does not give a flying F about anything. He proved the real importance of sound in the movie industry.
They are the nominees for achievement in sound.
That truly was the belch heard around the world. So how did
Yeah, no, poor guy.
time devoted to over one third of the Oscar nominees and still deliver a show that's about 40 minutes over time? Well, you have extended bits that don't work. You also have things like a James Bond clip package that's introduced by 3 completely unrelated extreme athletes. You take Wanda Sykes to a field trip to the brand.
Why didn't they bring out people who were James Bond or in the James Bond movies? I mean, I'm a Bond. That's my last name, Bond. And I was shocked that they didn't have one person related to that.
Specific rap verse from Megan Thee Stallion. It was kind of We Don't Talk About Bruno, but they didn't even include 7-foot frame, rap so long is back, which has been circling through my head since Thanksgiving.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
One of the silver linings of the show, at least, is that the song from Encanto, Dos Orejitas, did not win. No Time to Die won. But that also means that Lin-Manuel Miranda did not get his EGOT, which some people would say was a bad thing, but he wasn't able to attend the ceremony because his wife unfortunately got COVID. So maybe in the future, Lin-Manuel Miranda could actually be there if he does get his EGOT. So, that's like one okay thing, which is also rooted in a terrible thing, to like 98 not good things. So you add time with the bits, you add time with clip montages that don't really matter, you add time with extra performances of songs that you radically alter, and then of course there was the advertisements. So many advertisements, like the one for that Disney movie and that Disney Plus show.
I mean,
and that
the
Hulu show,
advertisements
and that other
need
Hulu
to
show,
take a
and that other
chill
Hulu
out.
show. If ABC was so worried about taking time out of the ceremony, then they could have cut down by half the number of ads for Disney-related products.
Exactly. The ads are running too much.
3 hours. I think the best summation of the night.
We're watching more ads than the actual
wonderful,
show.
Heartfelt acceptance speech.
Dad, I learned so much from you. I'll always love you. You are my hero.
Which was immediately followed by an incredibly not heartfelt token congratulations from Chris Evans, and then a transition to a sneak peek at Lightyear, coming to theaters near you this summer.
Congratulations, Troy Kotsur, on winning Best Supporting Actor. What an incredible celebration of movies. And now, I'm very excited to share a special look at my new movie, Lightyear.
Okay, so let's talk for a minute about the Twitter polls, because this is the most hilarious part of the evening for me. Way back when they started announcing the Oscar show and details about it themselves, they were really hyping up these Twitter polls. They were going to feature them during the show. This was the way, we couldn't do the popular Oscar like we wanted to do a few years ago, but this is the way to have your voice heard. We're going to feature it on the Oscar telecast. This was a poll that was run entirely on Twitter. And if you know anything about polls that are run on Twitter, then you knew exactly what was about to happen.
Exactly.
First of all, you had the top 5 cheer moments of all time, which dated all the way back to 1999 with The Matrix. That was followed by a musical number from Dreamgirls. That's a pretty good number.
Yeah.
Then you had 2 recent MCU moments. And then the number 1 moment, The Flash entering the Speed Force from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Of course, a Zack Snyder thing won the Twitter poll. That's partly what Twitter exists for. It is a conduit for the Zack Snyder fandom. But the
Exactly.
Oscar moment was nothing compared to the fan favorite poll, which was going to be this big featured part of the telecast, remembered, and which was buried right before commercial break, almost at the end of the show. It really does feel like the Academy was embarrassed by the results. And again, I'm not saying they should have been, but I think they honestly expected that, Twitter would pick 5 of the Oscar nominees for Best Picture as their favorite movies of the year. Yeah, no, that's not what they got. Instead, the top 3 were Minamata, a Johnny Depp film that only Johnny Depp fans have probably heard of, Amazon's Cinderella, which seemed to be the ironic protest pick, and the number 1 fan favorite, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which I'm sure was only number 1 because Zack
Snyder fans
was ruled ineligible as a director's cut from a film that was released back in 2017. And listen, it didn't matter what the question was. If it was,
It's 2021 right now. What's a
Zack Snyder? It was who's your favorite director
I
of
mean,
all
certain
time?
things
It
should
was
be
Zack
X'd
Snyder.
out of a
The
poll.
winner would have been Zack Snyder. That's how it goes with these online polls. Obviously, the Academy wanted to tap into Twitter without knowing what Twitter was about at all, which is amplifying the voice of smaller numbers of fans to disproportionately represent the voice
Exactly.
of all fans. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that is exactly what these Twitter polls are. As I said, I found these to be probably the most amusing moments of the night. Here was my...
I mean, it's instead of "We Don't Talk About Bruno," we should be singing the song "We Don't Talk About Jada." I mean, come on. And if you don't want us talking about Jada, then don't release shit to the public about Jada.
Oscars last night, or if you have not been on any social
That's how
media
I feel.
platform since last night, might be news to you that some crazy shit went down. I did not watch the Oscars. Very rarely do I watch the Oscars. I think it's a very boring